I'm Sonia Lennon.
And I'm Brendan Courtney, and you're listening to Lennon Courtney Left Alone. To get Series 6 underway, we thought we'd kick things off with a very special live issue.
Thanks to the fabulous people at Evoke and of course the wonderful folk at Dunnes Stores, we hosted the Find Your Mojo event with over 2,000 of you attending.
It was so much fun, but if you couldn't make it on the night, never fear, this episode has all the best bits.
This is the Mojo issue.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening and welcome to Find Your Mojo with us, Lennon Courtney at Dunnes Stores and the incredible people at Evoke. We are thrilled to bring you a night of fun, fashion, beauty and of course, confidence. We're delighted to be here.
And we are here in the brand new Evoke studios. We are the first event to go live here and it is amazing, state of the art. Now, tonight is all about you and we are so glad you joined us. Not only are you the audience for this event, you're also going to be the audience for the first episode of the season 6 of Lennon Courtney Left Alone podcast, which you can find wherever you get your audio gold.
It's really important just to recap why we're here. We're here because of an anecdote, really. Josh, who's on our design team, was working in one of the shops at Christmas, and a woman walked up to him and said, "I love Lennon Courtney, but I've lost my mojo." And then when we look at literally sales figures for women's fashion, as you know, you stop putting yourself in the shopping basket, but add into that equation that women make 80% of all domestic purchasing choices, including the car. So you literally were buying kids, you're buying food, you're buying home, you stopped shopping for yourself, you were putting yourself last. And when we polled a few women over the last few months about this, they all agreed they had stopped putting themselves in the basket. But also there's some shocking statistics from the UN around the effect of COVID on women and girls, women giving up paid work to take up domestic chores all across COVID. So we thought it's time to stop that now and to really just help people find their mojo. So it is fun night tonight, but we will actually include a link to that UN report on the effect of COVID on women and girls in after this in the link on our social media platforms as well.
Absolutely. So go to our Instagram channel and we'll be sharing loads of resources that can help you to find your mojo. We're going to be looking at 2 different workshops. One so that we can figure out where your head is at so we can help, and really more importantly so that you can figure out where your head is at and what your priorities are. And the second one is about really looking at reframing your challenges, and we're going to give you a confidence checklist to accelerate you out.
And literally all you need is a pen and paper and obviously a glass of Prosecco with one on the go, and sit there and chill out and enjoy the whole thing, and get hashtagging Find Your Mojo please as well. Sonia, I just want to ask you about confidence and how, the role it's played with you professionally. Has it been very important to you?
Yeah, it's funny, and we were talking about this earlier on. I do feel very confident now, and it comes from a sort of a place of self-esteem. I think confidence without self-esteem can be a bit hollow sometimes, but I know that when we started working together, it was a real turning point that I felt sort of, not to get too schmaltzy about it, I felt very supported, I felt valued, and I think for me the lesson around that is that it's really important to surround yourself with people who bring out the best in you and people who will radiate support rather than hoover out of you, you know. So it's just, you know, who you're surrounding yourself with, the stories you're listening to and the stories you're telling yourself are really important.
So go back to where we met. We met on the set of Off the Rails in 2008.
We were cast together like a fashion boy band.
A fashion boy band. RTE put us together, and the rest is really history. But the label started in 2012, and a question we're often asked is, how did we know that we were going to be together for a very long time? I often say the secret is don't share a bedroom, but that's for a different show. How did we know we were going to be together? What was it? What gave us that confidence?
Well, for me, and I know for you as well, it was around knowing that we had each other's back, trusting each other, respecting each other. And they're real fundamental pieces of the puzzle, you know, but without those, we could never have weathered a 13-year business relationship, because that stuff is hard, right? And it's not all easy, and you have to go through really bad times together. But I think that kind of foundational piece was kind of the glue that kept it going.
So before we get further into fashion and beauty and then we do the workshops, so we're saying that at the start of considering your confidence and getting your mojo back, it's really about who you're surrounding yourself with.
100%.
And so have you any tips or ideas or notions about how you would audit that list of people you surround yourself carefully without offending people, or what?
Yeah, I think that's one of the benefits of age, is that you start to think about, well, actually, what stories am I hearing, either internally or externally, you know? And I think, you know, at this stage, then you can kind of very gently move away from those who are only adding negative into the picture. And when we go through the life audit a little bit later on, you can really bring that into play and ask yourself, you can use exactly the same mechanism to say, well, you know, who are the 5 people who I listen most to? And are they A, negative or B, positive? And that's where you can really start to make very subtle changes.
You could also do that around the virus, but that's are you A negative or B positive? Now it's time for the first part of our first confidence workshop. It's very easy. You don't have to move. Stay exactly where you are. We're now going to start off with checking the mood of the room.
So all you need to do is to have your finger at the ready. We're going to ask you 3 questions. And the first one really is about your state of contentment, how happy you are. We want to know how much help we need to offer tonight. So tonight apart, because you're obviously having the best time ever. At the moment, in general, on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being the happiest and 1 being the least happy, how happy are you?
So this is a poll we're running right now to sense check the room, to sense check women who buy Lennon Courtney, who are fans of Evoke.ie. How happy are you on a scale of 1 to 10 in your life?
And, you know, it's really interesting because happiness is obviously subjective. You know, what we're really talking about is how content are you with the status quo? I mean, I think that's pretty amazing given what we've all been through, and it really proves how resilient women are in that most of you are hitting 3s and 4s. I mean, I think that's pretty phenomenal. So maybe we have a very happy girly night in out there.
And what we're asking is in your life. So I know you're probably happy right now because you're enjoying this wonderful experience, as Sonia said. But I think we're hitting quite a healthy 3 here, which is a good way to sense check the room that we're working with right now.
Really, really good. So, okay, so let's move on to the next question. And in a way, this is a little bit tougher because we are traditionally hard on ourselves. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 5 being complete adoration, and 1 being a lot of work to do, how much do you love yourself?
How much do you love yourself on a scale of 1 to 5?
Okay.
And 5 being the most, so 1 being the least.
They've got it. They've got it.
So interesting, different to happiness, right? So we're happy, but we're not happy with ourselves, which is kind of what we were talking about at the start.
Absolutely. And I think this is where we really need to take hold, you know, because if we're not loving ourselves, as the old adage goes, it's very hard for other people to love us. And that's what we found, that women are putting themselves last. And really, you know, the phrase that I always use is, it's time to be generously selfish. Look after yourself first, and think about this. Are you role modeling the future that you want for the next generation? Are you looking after yourself? Are you really making sure that you have all the fuel you need to be a sustainable and positive force?
Oh my God, when you said that, how much do you love yourself just plummeted.
Oh no. No.
But it's interesting that we're seeing how happy you are compared to how much do you love yourself. So you're putting yourself last. So that's actually bizarre. I was not expecting that at all. Okay, and the last poll is a really interesting one.
So this is a biggie, right? And this is a key question that I ask myself and my network ask ourselves at regular intervals. If in 5 years' time, and this is a yes or no answer, if in 5 years' time nothing changes in your life and you're still doing the same thing, will you be happy?
Wow, there's your answer right there. Look at that. 80% no. So if nothing in your life changes in the next 5 years, will you be happy? So let's recap on those polls, because I thought that was very interesting. So in general, we were 3 midway in happiness, which is an average. Everybody's averagely happy. But when it comes to loving yourself, it was much lower on the uptake. So it's probably quite Irish to say we don't love ourselves, and we're afraid to admit we love ourselves. But interestingly, in the last poll, if nothing changes in the next 5 years, will you be happy? And 80% of people watching said no. And I have to say, I probably agree with them personally as well.
Yeah, well, I think what's interesting about that is if you ask yourself the question, if nothing changes in 5 years, will I be happy? That means that you need to start thinking about what you need to change. And that's what tonight is all about. And the rest of the workshops that we're going to do are really going to help you to identify what the areas that need change are. So the next piece of the puzzle is what I call the life audit. And this is an opportunity for you to really see the areas of your life and how you are scoring on your own priorities. So here's a little visual of what to do. Get your pen and paper.
Really easy.
Really easy. So however many priorities you want to do, you just write them out. I have money, health, relationships, fun and work on this one. You can pick whichever ones you want. Now, the thing to do is to, from your gut, rate each piece out of 10. Okay, so if you feel you've got this particular area of your life absolutely licked, give it a 10. If you feel it needs a huge amount of work, give it a 1 or a 2. Okay, if you're kind of moderately happy, you get the picture, right? Now, what's important about this is that it gives you a snapshot of where you are in all the priority areas of your life. It doesn't mean that this is a life sentence at all, right? Because things might be happening in your money environment, your relationship environment, that might throw your numbers out of whack. Where it really, really makes sense is when you track it on a monthly basis. Put a little note in your phone and go back to this at the end of every month. Pick the same priority areas and ask yourself, what's my score? Then once you begin to look at what the patterns are, if something's continuously scoring a 2, a 1, you have to ask yourself, why is that performing so badly? If it's on my priority list, and what do I need to change to make it better?
And for the first time you do it now, which is we're at a sort of a light, fun event, we're just starting the journey together, is the key to remember when doing this is to do it quickly.
Yeah,
Don't think about it. Do it from the gut. So write down. So we picked 5 areas that we would work. We do this all the time every month. So money, health, relationships, work and fun. And you go 5, 1, 3, 4. Like, what are you happiest with? What are you least happiest with? And it gives you that picture. But to really get the data, as Sonia said, to really collate it and get information from it. But the funnest part is to do it now. And there will be a glaring one. There will be.
It could be based on an argument. It could be based on an over expenditure.
Yeah.
You get the picture, right? So you're in control of that to a certain extent, but really it's an awareness exercise so that you can begin to say, okay, well, my top 3 priorities are X, Y, and Z. And what we do as humans, which is really interesting, is we tend to focus more attention and give more investment into the stuff that's working well anyway, because that's more enjoyable. So if something's constantly scoring, 8, 9, 10, 8, 9, 10, and you're putting all your energy into it, you have to ask yourself, well, does that need all my energy? Could I divert that energy and that investment into another part of my life?
So say, for example, money is okay, relationships are fine, but your health is scoring low and regularly scores low. Because health and well-being is a tricky one to address for many people.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle change, so it's really, really difficult. So if that keeps scoring low, you'll know, okay, I need to sort of address that. But what I really like about it, it kind of rips the plaster off issues straight away and gives you really insight into one area even that you can start to address very, very quickly. And it's a bit of crack to do it together as well. We do it together. We try not to do it when we're drunk, because we try and do it sober. But we actually do a life audit together regularly, and it's really good fun.
Really, really good. And I think then, if you want to ask yourself another killer 5-year question.
Oh, get ready for this one.
This is a good one, and this will really help you to understand what your subconscious priorities are. So you ask yourself, if in 5 years' time, I'm standing on a stage holding a trophy for an award, what is that award for? Dun, dun, dun.
So think about that. Think about that. And
that can be a little simmerer.
Yeah.
Put that in the back of the engine.
What would you like your award to be for?
I think I'd like to be recognised for social change, for empowering women, for moving the dial a little bit. I would like that a lot. Can you organise that?
Yeah. Get voting.
What's your award?
I don't know, actually. I'll have to think about it. I'll come back to you before the end.
Put it in the back of the engine there, Brendan.
I don't know. I've got lots of awards as it is. I'm really joking. I don't even have the most stylish one. We won't even go there. But yeah, it's a very interesting one to think about. We've talked about what the problems are and how to refocus them, but what would be the award? So what would be the big achievement in terms of, I suppose, career or attainment of any type? Would it be the nicest house on the street? I don't know. What would be your award? Have a little think about that.
We have a really good working relationship. We've been working together as business partners for 13 years now. What is it about it that you think works? I mean, I've told you that you've given me confidence. You better be nice to me.
I think it's that I am a feminist, and that I've 2 sisters and a mother, a pretty matriarchal household. So I've never been in any way unequal to you in my head because I'm lucky. So I think I've always treated you as my absolute equal and with utter respect, the way I have expected to be treated. So I also think we met at a stage in our lives when we were adults. We were still learning, obviously, but we were in our 30s, we were formed. We were formed, I think, and that was really helpful. I'd made mistakes with other businesses and other business partners, not big mistakes, but I'd been a little bit.
You were never in jail, which is brilliant.
Just kidding.
Unless there's something you want to tell me now.
No, but I think it's interesting that you say I gave you confidence, because you gave me confidence. Absolutely gave me confidence, because you are the most confident person I know, because I think you have that lovely little combination of esteem and confidence in equal measures, where I would have quite low self-esteem. I know that's hard to, and I've had to work on that. But doing things like this and having conversations with you about things that really helped me in my career. But I think it's ultimately down to the people in your lives that really have impact on your bank account and on your working life. You have to trust, and I think that's key. You have to trust and respect.
And the one thing I think for us as well, and we have been through a number of different enterprises together. So we've obviously been on a real entrepreneurial journey. And people talk a lot about failure, and it's really important to embrace failure. Failure on its own is not really worth a whole heap unless you learn from it, So it's what are the bag of learnings that you're bringing forward with you so that you can do things better the next time. And it's funny, we had one sort of very dramatic failure of a business once, and we were crestfallen. It was people were affected, our staff were affected. We didn't know what to do, and I remember at the time we were thinking, where do we go with this? And we sat on it, because one of the things when you're dealing with these huge challenges and potentially failures is there's so much emotion coursing through your body that it's very hard to understand what is required of you. So sometimes doing nothing is the best course of action, because what we discovered from that then was we gave it a couple of months, we did nothing, and we realised nobody really cares. That was one of the biggest learnings we had.
And this is a really hard one to get your head around as you're maturing into yourself. Nobody cares, and that's really difficult, particularly for people with families or engrossing community. But actually, people don't really care. They'll gossip, but they don't care. And I think that for me, that's a gift.
And most people are far too self-obsessed to give your situation too much headroom.
Yeah.
So, and the beauty of that, in one way, is that whatever story, whatever narrative you want to tell about yourself, they will accept it pretty much at face value. So you can craft your own reality, and like we were talking about those stories, in the way that you want to do it. And one of the things we were talking about from the wonderful Jerry Hussey, the psychologist, talks about reticular activation system, and that is exactly—
Write that down.
Write it down, pen and paper. So your mobile phone, your social media feeds has an algorithm, and it will only feed you what you're interested in, because it can't feed you everything. It can only feed you what you've already told it you're interested in, and your brain does exactly the same thing. So if you think, I'm in a dead-end job, I'm not earning enough money, my relationship isn't what I want it to be, I don't like myself, if you keep telling yourself that story, your brain will keep feeding you information that validates it.
Terrifying.
So the stories that you tell yourself are really, really important. Never mind what anybody else tells you. Your own story is really, really important.
And a lovely piece of advice I read in one of I can't remember which book it was, but it's when you're changing careers or changing path, or if you've lost your job or if things have just changed. I read this actor used to say, I'm just writing a book. And I always thought that was a really nice way to buy yourself process time.
Yeah.
Maybe even think about writing the book. But it's a way to just sort of not have to explain yourself to anybody else. So if you're going through change, and let's face it, we're all going through change, you should give yourself the space to process. And that's been a real gift. We're both, unbelievably, we are both doing a master's degree, a master's of business in equality, diversity and inclusion right now. And the one thing I've learned is processing, is taking time away from what you've just heard, written down, and process that and let that just lie, because actually your brain takes a while for that information to soak into it. So giving yourself the space to think about things, I think, is really, really important.
And that's a nice little teaser into the confidence checklist, which will be coming up soon, Brendan. Beautiful segue.
Well, thank you.
Beautiful segue. But now we're going to have a little look at challenges and how to frame them. So again, pen and paper at the ready. This is a real simple one, just like the last one. Here we go. So what you want to do is you want to put challenges at the top of the page and then 3 columns. And in those columns, we're looking at challenges I can control, I can't control, and I can influence. So a lot of the time what we do is we see our challenges and we don't realize how much we can control and change them, you know. So it could be relationships, it could be work, it could be money, any of the things that we looked at as priority areas. But actually, you know, 3 of the big ones, say age, money, and health. We have more control than we realize. You might think, my age, I can't do anything about it. You
careful now.
You have a milestone birthday coming up very soon. 30's going to be amazing.
You said you wouldn't.
How are you feeling about it?
So funny enough, we were talking about this, and I turned 50 in June, and I think, you know, I'm from a family of age deniers, so I think it's very important to embrace your age. You're lucky to get here and get here safely. So I think it's very important to be a mascot for that. But 50 is a big one, right? For 50, you do go, oh, whew. I'm near 80 now. I'm the same distance to 80 as I was to 20. That's kind of mental when you think of it like that. But you can get yourself into wormhole. So I thought, age, I can't control. But Sonia told me I was wrong.
So when I turned 50, which was about 147 years ago at this stage, I really framed it in a story that I truly believed, which is about having half a century of knowledge and experience behind you and using that to live the next half better and with more knowledge and understanding of what was required of me. So it's about attitude, and your attitude is always your choice, as my great friend Deborah Searle always says. And Deborah used that attitude to get her rowing solo across the Atlantic. So she knows what she's talking about. And I think, you know, money and health, again, we sometimes feel like, you know, and there are health issues that are completely out of our control. We understand that. But in our day-to-day well-being and our health, we can still, you know, choose to have an attitude where we love ourselves. And actually, if you start with that, you know, it's giving you enough fuel to get to the next stage.
So if you put something in can't control, for example, you can actually change your attitude towards it.
Definitely. And I think if you're on this event, as so many of you are, and you have a friend or a sister or a soulmate or whatever it is who's with you or second screening with you, take those challenges, look at them together and help each other to move them into different categories so that they're not in the can't control. And quite often it's just about another perspective so that somebody can give you, you know, a new light on the problem.
And so, say for example, with money's a big one, right? So how would you change your attitude to that? If you've got that, so you've lost your job or money is completely, so one of you lost your job in the house, so you're saying, well, I can't control that, but what can you do about that? Where can you put that?
It's funny because, you know, 10 years ago this June I founded Dress for Success Dublin, and the aim of Dress for Success Dublin is to offer a support to help women with their confidence to be economically empowered. So Dress for Success Dublin is an amazing organisation which is staffed by professional volunteers who will help you to craft your story so that you can succeed at interview. They'll also give you free clothing, which is yours to keep, so that you can present yourself at interview. So all these resources are out there, and there's loads more. People and communities and groups who can help you. The first step is to really get out there and start talking about it. Yeah. Because unless you go out there and ask for help, nothing will change.
So just reframing how you approach the
issue.
And just to talk about Dress for Success for a second, it's free. And when you say tell your story, it means they'll help you do your CV, they'll help you present, they'll help you get your story in order and present yourself well for interview.
Yeah.
And suit you and boot you.
Totally.
For
because
free.
I think everybody, you know.
But it's important to say it's for free.
It is absolutely for free. And actually a question came in there from Janine, who was asking about going back to work after being a stay-at-home mom for 5 years. And, you know, this is exactly what Dress for Success was created for, so that we can give you a bridge back into the workforce and out of the life that you had been in. Because things that you did in that role are completely transferable into the workplace. But I think it's that fear factor, you know, that we don't know where to start, but there is help out there.
So let's tell the story about a job is advertised and you need to have 6 skills. If a man only has 3 of the 6 skills, he's much more likely to apply for the job than a woman who only has 3 of the skills. She won't apply unless she has all 6 skills. So women tend to undervalue their skill set as well, don't they?
Yeah, and it doesn't really get you anywhere. So it's worth reframing that one right there.
Very good.
Okay, next up, love this one, enshrine your reflection time. So what happens is we're all too busy to go back to the life audit, to look at the priorities and to make sure that we're investing in the right stuff. So this is something that we do religiously on a weekly basis. Is just take time out, take an hour, think about it. Think about what you need to be doing. Make sure that you're focusing on the right stuff.
I've asked a couple of friends who do this a lot, and particularly, I'm always amazed with people who have children, I have to be honest, I mean, how they do it. And one friend of ours said she gets up earlier than before the kids and has an hour to just reflect and to think about and to process. And that reflection time, and it doesn't have to be meditation, it can just be, what's my priorities? Look at my checklist. Am I going in the right direction? Is my confidence improving? That little me time, it could even be a walk, you know.
It could be anything. And I think, you know, lots of you out there are going to be saying, I don't have time to do that. Well, you know, what about Netflix? Is that more important than you thinking about what's important for the rest of your life? I'm not sure.
Harsh, but true.
Okay, next up. Start, change, small and slow. And this is really important, isn't it?
Yeah. So my little tip for this, so say it's your health. So I have a deal with myself, which is I'll go for a walk, and I'll just 10 minutes. You'll always do 20, but just to get your headspace out. So if you start just a little deal, and I with my sister I do it as well. Just go for a 10-minute walk. She's, I did 20 minutes. That's great. Just start small, and it's a little trick I play on my brain. Or I'll just read this book for 10 minutes. I'll just do 10 minutes of study. You'll do an hour. So start small, and don't set yourself up. So don't say, I'm going to lose 2 stone, or I'm going to stop eating carbs. Like, stop setting yourself up to fail. Start small. That's the key.
Yeah, definitely. And that's where real change can happen, because it becomes consistent, incremental change. And that's where the wins are. So let's go back and have a look at the 5 pieces on the confidence checklist. Stop deferring your happiness. Number 2, stop expecting others to notice how brilliant you are. Number 3, get comfortable with money. We promise you it'll change your relationship. Number 4, enshrine your reflection time. And number 5, start change small and slow.
That's lovely.
Thank you.
That's lovely. You're small and I'm slow. That's lovely. That's really lovely. So look, we've bombarded you with information there, I've realised, but it is quite light touch as well. So go easy on yourself. And also at the end of this session, on our social media, we're going to provide a full link to everything we've talked about, and it'll walk you through. There's some really nice pieces there as well, and Sonia's going to provide a link to some of the books that we love to read as well.
So listen, we promised you that we would come to your questions, and you have been firing loads of questions into the Q&A. So what have we got, Brendan?
So let's start off with one a little bit egoic. So Martinez has said she loves our new collection. Where did we get our inspiration from? And to do it on the beach, brave in this cold Irish weather, from Martina. Yes, Martina, the inspiration to go to the beach was we both Sonia's from Malahide, so has been sea swimming all her life. I started sea swimming this year. We wanted to do, it was more about the sunrise and and optimism and hope. Yeah. Sun coming up, a new dawn, we brave new world as we move forward with colour. And then Sonia said, I'll get in the water. So we were like, go for it.
That's basically what happened.
And it was that outfit that was actually in the water. I mean, it dried a treat, I'm not going to. Hilda has said, oh yeah, we've had loads of questions like this, right? Get ready for it. I've been living in tracksuits during COVID. How do I get back into stylish, comfy clothes? We also had another from Maria in Cork, spent the last year in sweatpants. I hate them, but I don't know where to begin.
Well, I have a premonition that we're going to end up with a pyre of grey marl at the end of all this, because we're sick of it at this stage, right? And if we know one thing, it's that human behaviour and fashion are pendular. So we swung very far over that way. We're ready to swing back. Loads of predictions about, you know, Gatsby inspired, fabulous party wear. We don't have to go quite that far yet. What we can start with is colour and comfort. And we've made a promise to you that everything that we wear will be really, really comfortable, because we don't think women particularly will ever go back to feeling uncomfortable in clothes again. So for us, what's really important is that lovely form and fit and feel of the fabrics that we use. So yeah, I mean, have a little look. I mean, we actually sold out quite a lot of the collection already, but we work with a lot of really beautiful jersey fabrics, which are just so easy to wear. And most of the fabrics that we work with are machine washable, which is really important to us as well, because we do know you've got a lot going on.
Indeed. Okay, so actually you can ask that question.
So this is from Joan in Bray, who says, happy birthday, Brendan.
Thanks
I'm also
Joan.
turning 50 this year. Should I cut my hair short?
What are you talking about, Joan? What are you talking about, Joe? No, you do not cut your hair short. It's completely up to you what you do with your hair. Rules are for school. My mother is my mother, and she has long, gorgeous, luscious hair. So no, I don't believe you should. But actually, I do like a pixie haircut as well. But it's up to you. It's not age defined.
No, it's not.
It really is not. I think that's really, really important. I've been asked that question many times by mothers of the bride or women who feel a little bit age inappropriate because of circumstance. We don't go with that at all. Do not cut your hair if you don't want to cut your hair.
No, we don't, Joan.
I have to say though, do you know what? Someone got bangs today. A fringe is a fresh face.
And it's cheaper than Botox.
Okay, anonymous attendee, and this is a question we faced many times on Off the Rails. I find it very hard to find clothes to suit me as I'm quite heavy-chested. Please help. So we have encountered this. I mean, we used to say there's no shape we can't make look amazing, and so trust us, there are clothes to suit you. Obviously, there's the obvious V-necks, but actually with a fuller chest, I often find a crew neck is actually very complimentary as well.
Yeah,
so
I think the design is good.
Yeah,
absolutely. And we're always kind of mindful of body shape when we're designing, and you know we're hoping to expand our sizes soon as well, both sides of the scale, up and down. So yeah, we're listening to you. So
here's one about work and confidence. What work suits being a single mum? I was self-employed, am, but not working since November, since last March. The longer I'm out, the more I feel I can't do it. Confidence in my own work I've trained for, or what I might want to do that might be different.
Okay, so we mentioned Dress for Success. If you're out of work at the moment, pick up the phone, ring them, get in front of them. They have career coaches, they have HR experts. Tell them what your areas of expertise are. Tell them what you used to do, and they can craft that into an idea. They work with loads of businesses and corporate clients who are looking for people with all sorts of skills. So I think it's very hard when you're living in your own head and when you've been removed from it to try and put any sense of it. So, you know, we spoke about this earlier on. Talk to somebody, talk to an expert, talk to somebody who knows more than you, who can give you a bit of guidance.
Cannot find jeans, this is from Clodagh, cannot find jeans that suit me, but also have to be comfortable. Feel the older I get, more emphasis I put on fabric, fit and comfort. Any tips? It's nothing to do with getting older. It's called post-COVID. Comfort and fabric and fit. It's so important, Clodagh.
Absolutely.
You're not on your own there at all. We do a jean. I think it's still available. It's really, it's all about the stretch.
We use a 360 stretch in our denims, and it's a lightweight denim, so it doesn't have that kind of
bulk.
Heavy bulk to it, exactly. So they tend to be kind of high-waisted to the natural waist and very sort of skimming on the hips. Worth a shot. If you haven't already tried them, they're definitely worth going online.
It's really interesting. There's literally hundreds of questions about getting out of tracksuits.
Isn't it funny?
Isn't it funny?
Because I think we've had enough, right? That's why you're here. Thousands of you on the Find Your Mojo Confidence Workshop. And, you know, it's just so wonderful to know that you want this, because we were 100% sure that you did. That brings us very close to the end of Find Your Mojo. I'm a little bit sad now.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you so much.
Aww.
Love you.
And thank you. I love you too. Thank you so many of you for joining us tonight. It was absolutely wonderful to know that you were out there watching. We're trending on Twitter. Thank you very much for letting us know. It's absolutely incredible. I think huge thank you to Evoke for hosting us for their first ever huge live event. Thank you so much to Dunn Stores for everything, for Lennon Courtney, for the beauty hall, for Derek. We absolutely love it. Lorna, thank you so much for all your fashion tips. It's been wonderful.
And this studio is incredible, and the team here have been absolutely amazing. It's like being in the future. So thank you very much, Evoke.ie. We have had a wonderful, wonderful time.
Phew, that was a great night. I think you need a big glass of Mojo.
Ooh, a cup of Mojo with a dash of milk. My favourite.
If you enjoyed this week's episode, we'd love you to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so that you will never miss an issue.
And for all the latest updates on Lennon Courtney at Dunn Stores, be sure and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn and YouTube.
Thanks as always to Katie Laffin for creating and performing our theme music, to Krutika Kodian for all her work behind the scenes, and Esther O'More Donahue for producing.
Bye.
Bye.